Great Britain. Here he is, the world 1500 metres champion, beating Ingebrigtsen last year in Budapest. A rerun of Jake Whiteman's defeat of the Norwegian the previous year in Eugene. Well, here is that World Championship final, and this was the last 50 metres with KERR easing past the former European record holder at 5,000 metres, Jakob Ingebrigtsen, who is out injured, not going to be racing this indoor season. Might do him good, the rest, mind you. He's a prolific racer and a very consistent racer. And of course, it's Ingebrigtsen who last summer, ironically, smashed the world record outdoors for 2 miles, because that's what this race is, with 7:54 at the Paris Diamond League in June. There's the big danger to Josh KERR. Grant Fisher, 5th in the Tokyo 10,000 back in 2021. He holds the US records outdoors for 5,000 and 10,000 metres. Canadian-born, mind you, Grant Fisher, but supremely consistent and very, very strong, whereas KERR significantly quicker over 1,500 metres. We might see a rerun of the Monson against Muir clash in this one, in the women's 2 miles. This men's 2 miles. I wonder if anybody else can gate crash that clash.
Bahela, first attempt at 190. Ooh, she did work out 186, made lots of adjustments and got over that the 3rd time, but no improvement here for Bahela.
So we missed the start of the 2 miles, but away they go, and this is a very, very strong field. We saw KERR and Fisher. Look out for Cole HOCKER, 6th in the Olympic 1500. He was 7th in the 1500 in Budapest last summer. There he is, HOCKER on the outside of the group, back in about 6th place at the moment. George BEAMISH is in there as well, 5th in the steeplechase in the World Championships last year. He's a 7:36 performer at 3,000. And the pacemaker here, well, there are 2 of them, MIAWAD and ERNST.
Vashti Cunningham vying for a 3rd consecutive win here in Millrose. It's pretty good, the first time clearance at 190. Christian Coleman did manage to get his hat-trick of wins. Alicia Monson didn't quite. Vashti Cunningham goes for it now. He's spoken in the media about the pressure of being so good at such a young age. She was world indoor champion at home in Portland as a teenager. She said she learned a lot, but she wished she'd had a bit more support, a bit more guidance, and she hopes any other young athletes coming through in our sport get a bit more help than perhaps she did.
Well, here is Mahuchik, and just in her 2nd competition of the year, Hannah. 2:04 last week. The world record is 2:08, which comes in at 190. You pointed out quite correctly, this is a big height to come in at, but she wants to conserve her energy, I think.
Mahuchik's debut here at the Armoury. She's travelled a long way, and if you're going to get on a plane and come to New York and you're aiming for a world record, you're going to take a risk like that and come in at 190. And you can see this is all business for Mahuchik. Straight over to her coach. I think she was indicating there her cadence wasn't quite what she wanted into the bar, perhaps a little bit slow, but she's been having to sit on the ground, keeping herself warm as this competition's begun. That's a good start for Miroslava Mahuchik. So Cunningham and Mahuchik clear. Manica of France has another 2 attempts. So will Mahuchik attempt every height? Is she going to pass now and conserve energy?
Well, they went through 400, a quarter mile, I should say, in 60.86 in this men's 2 miles. The half mile in 2:02.37. So at the moment, they're some way outside schedule. Josh KERR in 4th place. Grant Fisher in 2nd now in the blue as MIAWAD pulls aside. ERNST is the next pacemaker, AJ ERNST, who's a 3:36 1500 performer. Now he will, I would hope, push them well into the 2nd half of the race, but they do need to accelerate here. It's been too slow. And half mile in 2:02.54, well, obviously that's 8:10 pace. These fellas want to be going much quicker than that. Josh KERR, the bearded KERR, in 3rd place.
Well, KERR did say he definitely wants to try and attack the 2nd half and have the 2nd half of this 2 mile faster. He feels that plays to his strengths. And you have to look at the way that Mo Farah, the British athlete that holds the world record at the moment, he did go 4:05 for his first 2 miles and then came back in 3:58. So it is possible, but it's setting himself up for a tough task if they let the pace slip at all. But could Grant Fisher, as you quite rightly said, Tim, run like Alicia Monson here, the American that led the women's 2 mile for so long, and keep the pace on? And Fisher, he's got a good kick on him, but he's certainly a more endurance beast than Josh KERR.
3:02 at 3/4 of a mile, 3:02.8. So that 3rd quarter was only a click outside 60 seconds. They did indeed pick it up. He's done a good job here as AJ Ernst. Just a little acceleration over the last couple of laps, and that beginning to stretch them out now. HOCKER back in what, about 6th place. And these 6 beginning to get away as Fisher, well, I think the task for Fisher here is written quite clearly. Although he's a 7:25 3000 guy, he hasn't got the pace of KERR over 1,500 metres. KERR, remember, running a very strong half marathon just a few weeks ago. He was down there around 61 minutes and through the mile in 4:03:27. Well, as you pointed out quite rightly, Hannah, negative splits are what KERR said he wants to run, and Mo Farah ran massive negative splits when he set that world record. That world record, by the way, for Farah coming in Birmingham back in 2015, 9 years ago now, 8:03:40. Ernst working hard to try and help these fellas through this third quarter. This is the section of any mile race, or indeed a 2-mile race, 3,000, that really does make you dig deep and ask the questions. And these three have eased away quite quickly over the last 300 or 400.
I think AJ Ernst has upped his pace here. He's stuck to his tasks really, really well. 60-61. So it might just be that he's getting tired. He's running right on his limit. But Fisher and KERR have just glided away from the rest of the field. AJ Ernst drops them off. That was a 59.95 400 metres from these men. So they are starting to move. You can see it there, the first split underneath 60 seconds. It's credited to Grant Fisher. The endurance man is pushing now. He's asking questions of the British athlete.
Fisher it is who leads, and that certainly will make KERR pay attention and focus. He looked like he was cruising so comfortably. Josh KERR, remember, a 3:47 miler is Josh KERR on the roads. Fisher, much less bouncy, more fluid, less movement, less bouncing on the head there from Fisher as he comes round the bend. And that 59.9 will have stretched KERR, and Fisher has got to keep the faith here. The old front runners adage of make it hurt, make it hurt. Don't look around, just know you're hurting them. And he's gradually turning the screw here on KERR. He's building it wonderfully, throwing everything, including the kitchen sink at the Briton. And KERR has just got to keep focused on the back of that American vest.
And it's another sub-60-second lap there from Grant Fisher. And Josh KERR, to me, he looks relaxed. He keeps running up the back of Grant Fisher and then saying, I'm not going to slow down, I'm going to clip his heels. And we're talking about Fisher's endurance. He's so proven, the American record holder over 3, 5 and 10K. But Josh KERR has gone sub-62.5 marathon this winter in his training. He's stronger than he's ever been before. He said the mile was too short. That's why he hasn't run the mile today. At this stage in his season, the 2-mile is perfect.
3 laps to go then in this men's 2 miles. Grant Fisher pushing on hard. The last 2 400-metre segments, 59.9 and 59.5. Can he produce another sub-60 here? Back in 3rd place. Great running going on from Cole HOCKER, the 22-year-old American, running solo. Nobody to run against, nobody to gauge himself with. He's about 20-25 metres back, but he's absolutely, if anything, closing on this pair. As Fisher comes through with 2 laps to run, the time they're almost exactly 7:03 as they go through with 400 metres to run. 7:03:39 from Fisher, a 60-second lap.
And that's what they need. If they can do another 60-second lap now, that world record is very possible. And Josh KERR, for the first time, the world champion over 1,500 metres last summer. What a day that was for Josh KERR. He races very rarely indoors, but when he does, it's usually phenomenal. Farah in that world record attempt, 7:35 at the bell, and KERR is faster.
At the bell, KERR has hit the front and moved away by 10 metres and kicking hard. A little glance over his shoulder there. He knows the race is won, but has he got the strength? He's so powerful. World class at 5,000, very nearly world class at the half marathon. Brilliant at 3,000, brilliant at the mile. This is 2 miles, and this may well be a new world record from Josh KERR. Look at this, cruising to the line, 1 arm aloft. The winning time there is indeed a new world record. Strictly speaking, we should call it a world best. The sport doesn't recognise 2 miles for a world record purposes, but that is, for my money, a world record, and they call it that on the caption as well at these 116th Millrose Games. The 2nd world record of the day after the surprise one in the 60-metre hurdles opened our programme for women. Well, that is the one that was expected, the one that was predicted from weeks ago, months ago. Josh KERR said this was his target. and he's done it in spectacular style. And Hannah, have you worked out this, while I'm talking, have you worked out the time of that second mile? It's, what, about 3:56, something like that?
So they were 4:03 1/4 through the first mile. So yeah, 3:58, 3:57 and a bit. Lovely running from Josh Kerr. Him and his coach Danny Mackey, that they really do dial down on their detail, and to have a race plan where they want to run the second half faster was absolutely perfect. I wonder having an athlete like Grant Fisher in the field, that really played into Josh Kerr's hands, because you can rely on Fisher to keep that pace nice and honest in the second half when the pacemakers stepped aside. But that was a perfect race. It was orchestrated brilliantly by the race organiser Ray Flynn. Wonderful pacemaking, wonderful help from Grant Fisher, and Josh Kerr, the reigning world champion, looking in great form as we head into Olympic year. Wouldn't it be lovely to see him in Glasgow, a Scotsman at the World Indoor Championships?
Well, Grant Fisher, a national record 8:03.62. He just misses Farah's old world record, but a special day. And Cole Hocker, do you know, in many respects, that is the run that was anonymous but was brilliant. 8:05 in third place, running the second half of the race all on his own. George Beamish there closing on him, just getting a national record for New Zealand, but missing out by 3/100ths of a second from Cole Hocker.